Live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children over the age of 18. Welcome to episode 3 of the SmackTALK Wrestling Podcast, where I am joined with my cousin, real life cousin, no kayfabe, Angel AOK Gaming, and my best friend growing up, David, aka Raising Personalities. How you guys doing tonight?
Spectacular. Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. Another week of wrestling, more news. So I'm definitely excited to jump in to this next exciting episode.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. We have a big show for you guys. We're going to break down everything that transpired in the WWE this week. So, without further ado, let's just get into it to the Thursday night WrestleMania kickoff presser. What event that was a free event in Las Vegas. It was a huge turnout to see all those wrestlers and The Rock and the Bloodline and all that good stuff. That's actually, it was pretty crazy. What do you guys think overall before we actually break down that presser? What do you guys think about that and that idea of the WrestleMania kickoff?
Go ahead, Gons. You get take point here.
With that, I was actually rather excited for it. UFC, the whole build-up. I mean, I've seen that, of course, with those types of presentations, but at least for WWE, that's something I can't even recall that they've been able to create and put on display for people. If you knew who certain characters were, or if you didn't, good example is Triple H. For those that know who Triple H is, he, of course, comes out, he gives his information, but then as you see at the end, he's just a presence. He doesn't really reintroduce himself. He doesn't really say too much. And again, it's just a presence. So for those that know who he is, you already know what he's about. But then for those who don't know, this could be a good opportunity to then Google search, try to find more information to get a little bit more involved with the product. And I think that can be then equally utilized for all of the different characters that were then shown in that light.
For sure. Angel, what'd you think about the presser?
It was really cool. Better than I thought it was going to be. When they first announced it the week before, I wasn't sure how it was going to go or what they were really planning on doing. And at first I was kind of turned off to the idea that this decision would be made on some, presser on YouTube or, it's just not very WWE, right? Like Gonzo brought up, this is more like almost like a weigh-in or like a UFC type, hype up event. But it was pretty cool. They took advantage of the Super Bowl week being in Vegas. They took advantage of being, at that location in Vegas, the T-Mobile Arena. I think they were at out there in Vegas. And it was pretty cool. It was cool to see the stars together. It was cool to see everyone show up. As Seth Rollins said, it went a lot better than expected. And the fans were pretty good down there. It was cool to see CM Punk get to give his little jabs and his little personality out there. It was a good event. I enjoyed it. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned CM Punk. Like, doesn't he just look happier and just like more at peace nowadays? Even though the guy's hurt and he's just dealt a shitty hand, his third injury in a year and a half, 2 years. Don't you just feel like he's just different right now? Like, I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe that's just me, like, going too much into it, but I just feel like he's just happier. It feels like he's just in a different state of mind right now.
Oh, no, I'll 100% agree with that. I mean, the reality is he goes to a company that very much so is on the rise. They're trying to figure some things out. And he himself has been in this business for a very long time. So to be able to speak the same language with people who haven't been there or done things like he has or been exposed to, he goes back home to WWE, and it's familiar. He's able to, again, just say and to be himself, but then also be around people who have similar mindsets, similar ways of creativity. Even if it is slightly different, it's there, right? So it's not additional stress that potentially he now has to totally put on his shoulders and to carry around.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so now since we're talking about the presser, let's break it down. Obviously, we're going to get to the most important part with the slap heard around the world, but let's just break into the other stuff first, and then we'll get into that, right? So right off the bat, we got Becky Lynch confronting Rhea Ripley. So we've already seen Rhea Ripley kind of getting ready to start with this quote-unquote dream match between Becky Lynch. They've never faced off each other. It seems as though that they might face off at WrestleMania. Obviously, Becky Lynch has to win the Elimination Chamber, but I mean, as of right now, she's got to be the odds-on favorite, right? What do you guys think so far?
Sorry, Gonz, I'm going to jump in here real quick. I think it's awesome that they were able to do that face-to-face, build up and feud and smack talk right? So that was awesome. The things I have to mention though, first off, is yeah, the road to WrestleMania is still kind of a long path here, right? This week to March. So it kind of diminishes the Elimination Chamber and, the match with Nia and, the chamber itself and qualifying and so on and so forth. Like, I don't like that we're skipping so far ahead. I get why they had to do it, but at the same time, I just don't like the way it skips so far ahead, and it kind of makes everything that's coming, a little irrelevant, unfortunately. I mean, I don't have a better word for it right now, but, it's really cool to see them. I love Rhea. I think she's the best in the business right now. So I'm really happy she's getting her flowers and, able to defend this title so many ways. And she's going to main card everything that's coming up soon. So it's going to be really cool to see that. And Becky's a great talent too. So, but I just have to say that I don't like the part where it's skipping ahead a little bit right now. That's all.
Bianca Belair, like what was she doing? And what's that? Oh, sorry. Thought already we were getting some content. I mean, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, skipping ahead, not including Nia Jax. There's no Bayley. I mean, I had a really big issue just with that portion of it. Like Bianca Belair, totally random. She has been not included in any types of real significant storylines now, probably a month and a half. So why she was there was a big question for me. And then, of course, you bring out Becky Lynch to confront Rhea Ripley. What about Nia? Nia, of course, has already beat Becky Lynch in very convincing fashion. Why are we discluding her? So, like, I understand you got the two big names that are definitely coming. I know there's history between, of course, Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. To me, it felt out of place just with how they're telling the story at this point, coming into Elimination Chamber, leading then, of course, into WrestleMania.
No, I agree. I mean, because growing up, when we all used to watch Elimination Chamber, that was one of the shows. You know what I'm saying? You got the titles being defended there. I could recall like a big 6-man cage match with Triple H defending that bad boy. I forget which one it was, but like now it's become, okay, now we're moving into a number one contender, which is still not bad to me. At least you have some stakes, but you have it in between the most important wrestling event. It's like, okay, we got Elimination Chamber. Oh, well, when that was a huge spectacle when we were growing up. And now it's just like, okay, whatever. Then you have Nia Jax. Well, I don't know what happened to Angel there. His device is connected. Anyway, but then you got Nia Jax here.
Sorry about that.
Thrown in the middle of it. And it's like, okay, she's getting her big flowers because she's not a very well-liked wrestler. Okay. When she came back, she's still winning people over, even though she's coming as a heel. She got booed when she came back. Like, no one cared. There was like, okay, why is she back? No one likes her. Even the wrestlers, their promos, they drop of like, oh, who are you going to injure next? Because she has that horrible reputation. But it's like, you bringing out Becky Lynch, like you guys said, you're totally just ignoring the fact that Rhea Ripley might not make it to WrestleMania, but you have her at this WrestleMania presser as though she's going to be there. So it's like, why should I watch the Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley?
The only thing I could think of without spending too much more time on this is, and I think I said this in last week or episode 1, is Nick Khan really pushing overseas premium live events. And again, you have two individuals, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, that technically are not American descent, right? They started elsewhere and have been very well known in those parts of the world. And is that more than for Elimination Chamber to really build
Australia.
The interest into that? Oh, sorry, excuse me, Perth, Australia. And so it's just something to consider, really. Are they really, again, pushing those wrestlers that have been very well known in other parts of the world, while, again, American are being a little bit cast off to the side? That's just something to consider, too.
No, yeah, I agree.
That's true. There's truth to that, but Becky and Rhea are, I think, at the top. Like Rhea especially. Like Becky's been here a while, but Rhea is definitely the top of the game right now. So I get what you're saying 100%. But they're going to take advantage of those top stars also being global stars. So there's truth to both of it for sure.
Yeah, I agree. But we'll get more into Elimination Chamber as the show goes on. We do got to have a segment for that. But let's move on. We're going to still talk about the Thursday WrestleMania kickoff, and let's go to Seth Rollins, man. I just got one question. Like, what was the point of Seth Rollins being there, with the exception of him getting crapped on? I didn't swear, David. From Roman Reigns. Like, what was the point?
That is an ally for Cody. What are you talking about? That is
cares?
going to be
Who cares?
tremendous. Tremendous. It's another individual that is now going to be going against the corporate bloodline. And yes, I can copyright that right now.
The corporate bloodline.
That is correct. And so it's, again, insulting a lesser championship, but then everything, of course, that potentially Rollins stands for, what he presents. And it's another individual that now has logical backing in this continued effort to dethrone Roman and the bloodline, corporate bloodline, as it continues to build.
So this is where I have a, before you get into it, Angel, I'm sorry.
No,
So this is where I have a problem with what you just said, Gonzo. He's there to back up Cody. That's what you said, right? He's there to back up Cody. Is he not a world champion? Should he not be helping promote WrestleMania because it is a WrestleMania kickoff? So you have him there to back up Cody and not be like, okay, who's gonna face me? Cody, you're dropping all these epic promos. He's dropped epic promos to do whatever he can to make that title relevant and to make it be like the championship. And you're saying he's there to back up Cody. That's what I have a problem with. And I'm not saying you're wrong, because you're right. And I'm just saying what I have a problem with it. Because if you're gonna make this championship legitimate, he shouldn't be out there backing up Cody. He should be out there talking about, yo, I'm the guy here too. And instead of clapping back at what did Roman Reigns say? The losers bracket championship. He just stood
number
there.
2.
He's number 2. He's the 2s and they the 1s. I should have worn my We the 1s hoodie. Damn it. But like, come on, man. It's like this guy's constantly getting crapped on. It's like, why did we separate in the first place? If this is what you're gonna constantly do.
This will be my last comment, and then I'll turn it over to Angel just to continue into this. And again, I think it's beyond just the championship, because you have The Rock, you have Roman Reigns that are totally discrediting individuals that care so much about wrestling, the business, being there, being present. Even though Seth and Cody have, of course, different trajectories, they both still stand, at least on screen, for being blue collar, willing to put in that time, that work. And so it's not so much about that title now. It's a gigantic slap in the face for all of those that represent being on the show, potentially to be there for the fans day in and day out, to represent wrestling and not so much entertainment. And that's what already a lot of this has been alluded to, is that Rollins already made that promo identifying that it's the Hollywood title, it's the cinema title, right? You don't necessarily have to be here all that much. So it's two individuals that technically have separate paths, but they ultimately do represent standing for very similar things when it comes to wrestling as a whole. And now that is being spat upon. I wanted to turn it over to Angel, definitely, so you can get his points in.
No, yeah, you guys definitely hit a lot of nails on the head there. For me with Seth, yeah, I feel like, obviously the Punk injury has really detoured Seth's path right now, right? And it was obvious that, Punk was going to be the one to really give Seth center stage here. And they could even have, overshadowed, Roman and Cody, which probably wouldn't have happened. But Punk and, even Seth in his own work could have been a pretty big draw for WrestleMania, just on their own. So obviously Punk being hurt, that's really put Seth in a weird spot. And I don't even know what they really were thinking at this point, making him come to the stage. I think they just had to, because he's the champ, and you can't represent WrestleMania without having one of your premier titles, number 2, whatever you want to call it. It's still the heavyweight championship. So him there, though, dealing with Cody's decision, it just got awkward after Cody came out and pretty much shut down the whole Rock versus Roman thing, like, we were hoping for, which was awesome. But anyways, as far as Seth is concerned, I don't know where it puts him. Now he's facing whoever wins this Elimination Chamber situation. I don't like that they were calling it number 2, but it's funny. I like seeing him and Roman go back and forth, and I wish we could see that a little bit more. They just give each other jabs now every week, like, passive aggressively to each other. and they don't actually get to say anything face to face. It was really cool to see them face to face because we don't get to see that ever. So this type of event, that's what made this very unique for me. Them actually saying these things to each other's face, Roman calling it number 2, Seth saying thanks for showing up for work finally, stuff like that. I like that stuff. That's really cool to see. Hopefully we get to see more of that in the future. But
Seth
yeah,
wearing
I don't know.
Becky's shoes.
Yeah, wearing Becky's outfits. He likes it. Yeah, these they were cutting some fun stuff. And it was really cool to see them together again. My little brother, my big brother. There's some love, but there's some hate there too. You know what I mean? They're a good dynamic, and there's a good story there between the two. But they have their separate paths right now, and we'll see what happens in the future. But I hope Seth, gets more of a center stage upcoming here, even without Punk being in the picture, because I think he has a lot of talent, and he can do the job pretty well, and he can hold the title pretty well. Him and McIntyre, which I think is what's going to happen. I think it'll be pretty fun. So we'll see what happens, but I hope Seth gets to really show off what he's capable of coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I mean, like I said, I'm not the biggest Seth Rollins fan, but I feel like he deserves better because he has been the workhorse for WWE, in my opinion, and just the way that he just gets crapped on, it's crazy to me. But anyway, all right. So the big topic of that presser, The Rock, slap heard around the world, seemingly turning heel and joining the bloodline.
The corporate bloodline. Thank you.
Whatever. Angel confirms Rollins stan.
No, not a stan. I've grown to appreciate him more though, for sure. And he does show up every week. I mean, someone's got to show up. When you got one champ that shows up once a month at the most. I mean, this past Friday, wasn't it just...
You got 2 of them on Friday.
Yeah. I mean, wasn't it just Paul Heyman by himself saying next week The Rock and the champ are coming?
Yeah.
Like, why aren't they there this week? Why do we have to wait 2 weeks to see people? Anyways, I'm not a stan. Go ahead.
Yes. So The Rock seemingly turned heel and seemingly joining the bloodline, and the slap heard around world slapped the piss out of Cody. Rock's words, not mine. So what do you guys think of all that? Did you like it? I mean, what's going on? It's I can tell you right now, something that I definitely did not expect. So what do you guys feel about it? Angel, start with you.
Sure. Oh man, it was I really enjoyed it. We got a little taste of it when Rock showed up on Pat McAfee's show, and he started calling the Cody Crybabies now, right? Hashtag Cody Crybabies. We're a part of that. We want Cody, that whole movement. Cody, let's go. But anyways, yeah, when we saw Rock on the show, on the podcast, cutting promos again like old school Rocky, you started to feel a little bit like, okay, there's something going on here, a little bit different than what we thought was happening. And then, yeah, when Rocky showed up on stage, talking about the bloodline, so on and so forth, the high chief stuff, all this, these layers they're adding to the story and the history behind it now. Now we're going back decades and generations between these families. There's multiple families involved now, right? And I think WWE is really doing this on purpose for the situations at hand, but we're looking at other families in the history of the WWE, and I think there's a reason behind that. But it was interesting to see Rock go full heel, and I think he's going to be great at it. I don't think he's in a place where, I don't know if they did a switch, if they did a pivot, if they didn't, who knows? But I think they did the right move, whatever it may be. If it was the original plan, if it wasn't, I really don't care. I think Rock being a heel, he's a full-on heel. I mean, you saw he talked to Triple H. I mean, that was awesome. Seeing those two guys go at it real quick for 5 seconds, my blood was, boiling. It was awesome. I think Rock going full heel, though, is great for the company. I think it's good for business. We'll see where it goes from here. I don't know how that's going to play out WrestleMania-wise. Tag teams, no tag teams, feuding. We're going to see. I think it's fun, though, and I think The Rock's going to be really good at it. I like it. So that's my opinion.
I think 100% they did do a pivot. I think it's kind of similar to, the Yes movement with Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him. It's WWE. We'll call him Daniel Bryan. But I think they 100% did a pivot. I think they really wanted to do Roman versus Rock, and they saw the backlash that they got because they're sick of Roman. Is not sick of Roman. I say sick of his title reign. So I think they 100% did a pivot. David, what do you think?
As far as Hollywood Hollywood Maivia, Hollywood Rock, corporate champion, whatever it is that we want to refer to this man as. I thought it was really interesting with The Rock coming out in all black. Like an old Western, I give definitely a lot of credit to my boy Adam. Me and him were talking about this a little bit earlier. He had watched it, and he doesn't watch WWE every single day, but he had pointed that out. As The Rock comes out, he's dressed in all black, and just like the old school bad guy comes out in all black. And again, I already heard about the Pat McAfee stuff earlier in the day, so I could already get that feeling that something more was coming. And so he couldn't even get in his lines because he was getting booed. You heard Cody chants. You heard it was deafening. And again, he sold it with his facial expressions as he's going through everything. And I think it took him, like a minute and a half to finally just get through everything. And then the finally hit. So the ability to now go on this story, right? Cinema. This is everything that I have definitely been wanting. And for the fans that have been on this journey with Cody, or that have been just watching, even if you're not a Cody fan, the story is being told out. And to have him get dropped in, if this was the original plan, I give kudos if they did, in fact, pivot. Ultimately, they did listen to the crowd, what this possibly could do, what it couldn't do. And you know what? They created more topics. They created more stories. What ifs? People, this has been a buzz for what, a week now going into it. Must watch television. So at the end of the day, Rock going heel, we know he can do it. I mean, that's really not the question here. We've seen it in the 90s. Michael Cole even alluded to it on this past week of Raw, right? When he's like, what is this, 1996? When they started doing Rock sucks chants and what have you. So I'm very prepared for The Rock to have an NWO Hollywood Hogan type of run now, where he's a little bit older in his career. He's coming back. He's an icon, and he's going to be able again to kind of go back and forth. That's why I've been dubbing it the corporate bloodline now. If that sticks, again, maybe someone throughout the airwaves heard me say it here, but there's going to be a lot of good material now to definitely use moving forward, because you could have Cody win, but you could also have Cody lose. This also could continue itself because of the storylines and how this is all being placed together now. So either way, people are going to get their second round of Cody, and who knows what they're going to do. I'm totally intrigued.
And that's what I was going to ask you guys. David hit a very good point. So The Rock being inserting himself into the bloodline, or the corporate bloodline, as David likes to dub it as. What are the odds of the bloodline continuing now? That storyline continuing, because The Rock has been added. Now it's fresh. You adding a different dynamic to it. One of the greatest of all time in The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson, whatever you want to call him. Does Cody go in still the guy to beat Roman, or do they do another pivot and be like, hey, we pivoted, we gave you guys the match you wanted, but we didn't say he was going to win? So what are the odds that happening, and this bloodline just continues, and then he goes for Bruno Sammartino, like I've been saying?
Marc, you talked about it. Cody likes trilogies. He's that old school mindset. Let's say Cody loses again, and it's the reason that The Rock gets involved instead of the spike getting thrusted into someone's throat this time, right? I mean, we know how this possibly could go. There's a lot of different ways that they could spin this now. I could see it continuing. Why not? You're going to be able to, again, end it, or you can continue it. And you could possibly replace Jay with The Rock, right? Then you bring Jay back into the mix, and he's another ally in this whole fight versus the bloodline versus the rest of wrestling, or whoever it is that they want to ultimately put together to go against this juggernaut.
Right. So, with The Rock slapping the hell out of Cody, does that set up something between them? Does the tag match that everyone thinks is going to happen? Do you think they get some type of involvement for Elimination Chamber? Obviously, we're going to get into Elimination Chamber later, but I mean, just because we're on, the bloodline, do you think that's going to spark some type of match, or do you think they're just going to have to save one for WrestleMania?
If I could jump in real quick, I don't. Yeah. There's so many ways it can go, right? We've been saying that. Like, this gives them infinite branches of timelines they can take right here, right? Did you guys find it funny as well? I mean, sorry, I don't mean to veer off really quick, but I just have to say this. Did you guys find it funny that Rock did all the talking and Roman kind of sat back? And
that's what usually Roman does.
right, but Cody called him the High Chief. I know that's like his status in the family's line or whatever. I'm wondering really where Roman's gonna stand here. Is he gonna be? They're all hunky dory now, right? And it looks cool now, but I'm really wondering about this dynamic between Rock and Roman, because is Roman gonna be cool with this whole idea of Rock, replacing him as the guy at the head of the table, right? At first it was like, oh, they're gonna fight for the head of the table, but now they're not. So if they're working
I'm gonna interject for a second. I don't think they said they're not, and I'm glad you brought this up, because maybe that could be some type of dynamic where we still get Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania Night 1.
That's true. That's true. There, or just in general, it could happen, at another pay-per-view, or it could be, for sure. There's, like I said, there's a million timelines they can take for sure. That they could. I just thought it was interesting how much it was. Cody was talking to Roman, but all the responses were from Dwayne.
No, that's a good point. I didn't, now that you mention it, and I'm thinking about it, because I watched that thing live, and I'm like, you're right. He did respond. He did all the talking. Like I said, I mean, someone usually speaks for Roman, with the exception of Acknowledge Me. So I mean, it's not that out of character. But yeah, it is for someone else, especially someone as big, probably the only other person that as big as him in the family, to talk. So that could be something that's a great point that you could point out, where Roman's like, all right, dude, like, who do you think you are? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I feel like there's a cool potential there, right? And Roman, I think he speaks well. He just cracks jokes most of the time, and he's always just belittling people. But I think there's more to him there that could happen between him and Rocky. As far as what's going to happen, between Rock, Roman, Cody, and +1, whoever that may be, or +2, or whatever, like Dave was saying, Jay, there's so much here. I don't know where Dustin stands. What's his situation? He's
under contract? I mean, I think to my knowledge till 2025. So if he brings
so it's gonna
if they bring him in, it'd be strictly WrestleMania, which, like I said, post McMahon era, it's definitely a possibility, because we got Naomi and Trinity working out here under two names. So I mean, I don't know.
No, I'm just really buying into this family part, right? And I think WWE wants this idea of like, we all know who the family was for WWE. We're trying to move on from that now. Let's bring in some new family blood, right? And like, we got the bloodline, right? Everybody knows this. They're the top dogs right now. Let's bring in some other history, some other top family situation. I mean, what does Cody's song say when he first comes out?
There's more than one royal family.
Right. Wrestling's family. Exactly. Right. So like, I think they're buying into this idea. I think there's a lot there with this whole WWE knows what they're doing at this point, I think, with what they're doing here.
No, I think so too. I mean, it's ever going to be something to see. It's just like, now it's like we have more questions than answers. We do got the big question that Cody's finally going to be fighting Roman Reigns, but it's like, is the bloodline story going to continue? Does Cody get screwed once again? Is we going to get a tag match in the future with Seth Rollins backing Cody, because seemingly that's all he's good for now? Is The Rock still going to fight Roman Reigns? There's a whole bunch of things that could happen. In my opinion, when it comes to just at least answering one of my own questions, I think Rock and Roman Reigns still do fight. I just don't know when. I don't know if you want to have Roman Reigns still pull double duty or not, but at the same time, it's like, how long are you going to drag it out? Because I don't think Rock versus Roman should be on any other show besides a WrestleMania. So I feel like, even though SummerSlam is one of the biggest wrestling shows on the planet, I still think that's a step down if it's not WrestleMania for Rock versus Roman. Gonzo, I saw you unmuted yourself. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, my cousin, I'm going to shout him out real quick, Ron. He sent me some information. I don't know, because I know we raised a question about Dustin Rhodes, and then for our listeners, that's also Gold Dust. For those of you who remember that individual from, 30 plus years in the business now, 2023 in the summer, ultimately is when his alleged AEW contract had come to a close. So I don't know if there was an additional year extension with that, but I think right now it could be that he may be fused into this storyline. There's possibilities. That's all I was going to say.
No, you're right. I mean, he could. Like I said, to my knowledge, it was to 2025. He could have had, I know he had an injury, so Tony Khan could have tacked on some time. I could be maybe just late 2024 or whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. But like I said, if this was a year, 2 years ago, I would say Rhodes there's no chance. But I mean, anything could happen right now. Like I said, Naomi's fighting as Naomi in WWE, but yet I just watched TNA yesterday and she's still Trinity. So I mean, definitely could happen. They could definitely bring him in for WrestleMania. So that is not 100% rolled out whatsoever. So, but unless you guys have anything else you guys want to say about the presser, let's move on. So you guys have anything else you want to say about the presser? Nope. All right, cool. So Gonzo and I, we predicted the NXT, or Gonzo, Angel, and I predicted the NXT Vengeance Day from last week. So we're gonna do a quick thoughts on the premium live event, and then we'll kind of break down the fallout from everything that's happening. All right. So Gonzo, what did you think about the PLE, bro? Just your overall thoughts. You don't need to go into specifics. We are gonna get into it in a second.
I'm just happy that Braun Breaker did not decapitate himself in that opening match where he was running the ropes. That was pretty bad. And again, just thankful that he's okay. I know that Mello potentially looked a little shaky in that too. There was a couple spots where he almost injured himself. But overall, the match was fantastic. The Mud Dogs is how I refer to them. And I called that they were going to be able to go over. There were some additional plans, I think, for Breaker. But overall, I really did enjoy that as far as the PLE goes for the Dusty Cup.
All right, cool. Yeah, so let's breaking down that. So right now we got the Wolf Dogs beating Trick and Mello in the Dusty Classic, and now earn the right to face my boy, the family, for the NXT Tag Team Championships next Tuesday. So what do you think about that going forward? Go ahead, Gonzo, take point for a second. I'm gonna still be.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, as far as the family goes, very strong showing in regards to them versus, again, Breaker. And then you also have Baron Corbin, which I know a lot of people are not too big of fans of Baron, but that's going to be a definitely good setup for two powerhouses, because with the family and what they're able to bring to the table, a lot of athleticism, a lot of character. And so you have this ascending talents in addition to Corbin, which I think they're going to be able to definitely construct some good story going into this coming Tuesday.
Right. Angel, what do you think about the Wolf Dogs, your boy Baron Corbin, and the next big thing, Braun Breaker now being the number one contenders, going after my family, bro, the family? How do you feel?
It's pretty cool. Braun Breaker, he's pretty much, I mean, did you see Dave's boy Paul Heyman already getting his fangs into Breaker?
Possible next Paul Heyman guy?
Next Paul Heyman guy. So I mean, Breaker, I mean, he's looking like he's replacing someone who we can't talk about anymore, but another big Paul Heyman guy. He might be the next big thing, as we can say, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'm not a big Corbin guy, but if that works with the Mud Dogs, as Dave calls them, let them get their
Wolf Dogs officially. Not trying to get sued out here.
Wolf Dogs, Mud Dogs, but yeah, it's pretty cool. I think Breaker's got a bright future, a lot ahead of him, and we'll see where they take him. I mean, he's gonna be pretty busy coming up. He's gonna be the opposite of Roman. He's gonna be on every show every week. It looks like. So we'll see what he's gonna be up to, man. He's busy.
They're definitely going to show it on our show. All right, so before we move on, like I said, they will face my favorite team in NXT right now, the family, this Tuesday coming up for the NXT Tag Team Championships. It's a question for both of you. So obviously, we see how busy Braun Breaker is. All right, he's going from show to show. There's a bidding war. To be honest, I didn't think that they were going to win the Dusty Classic, but they did. But with Braun Breaker, all his extra stuff going on, do they beat the family? Predictions for Tuesday.
Go ahead, Gons.
In WWE fashion, yes, absolutely. Because for right now, and I said this when we were talking off screen, Braun Breaker, until WrestleMania is done, they're going to have him fill his time right now doing some stuff NXT wise, cement himself a little bit further until WrestleMania is done. Once WrestleMania is done, that's where I will say he'll get the call up. They'll drop the belts. They'll do some type of angle in that general direction, because they're already showing you that Corbin and him are going, they're not 100% gelled together. And you're going to be able to see Braun, just with his athleticism, display that as to how he can just immediately be a game wrecker at any second. So naturally, this is not supposed to be something that is going to last for a long period of time. And I think the storytelling so far is they're allowing us, the fans, to see that. For me, it's been very refreshing. So no, this is not going to be a long-term thing. I think until WrestleMania season is over, then you're going to get a little bit more on him on Raw and then SmackDown.
You don't think he'll be part of WrestleMania?
I don't think so. I mean, because with all the big storylines, you got Bayley, of course, you've got Roman, you've got Rock. Where are you going to put him? I mean, why put him into WrestleMania when you have all these other characters in these stories kind of going around? I think that Braun has taken the role potentially of a certain someone, the next big thing, right? You know, to fill that individual's shoes. So I'm not going to be sad if I don't see him in the WrestleMania picture. It's really not going to be something I'm going to lose sleep over. I'd rather see him after WrestleMania. You get a fresh start. Here we go. We're going to now give you more and more of this next big up and coming star. And it doesn't take away from his flowers, right? He's going to get that graduation to the top card. I would rather have him be on the top card, have time specifically set aside for him. So that way he just doesn't kind of get lost in transition, or some other big thing happens, then you're going to forget about him in WrestleMania. Oh my God, yeah, that's right. He was there, only because you're coming back and you're rewatching it. I don't want to see that happen to him.
Okay. Angel, thoughts? Braun Breaker and Corbin, do they win the NXT championships? And thoughts on Braun Breaker overall?
Yeah, they'll probably win it. I could see them taking that and just pushing Braun. I feel like what they're doing with Braun is pushing him in a way that isn't disrespectful for the rest of the rosters. They don't want to just bring up another, Bill Goldberg type, or even, a Lesnar type, where they just go undefeated. Nobody knows who this young guy is. Yeah, I know. But, but it's different in the fact that, he's putting in the work, right? Like, if he comes up here and he starts feuding with if he comes out at WrestleMania and it interrupts a match or something, right? Let's say he does something like that. No one's going to be like, well, what the hell is this guy doing out here? He's a nobody. He's a this. He's got gold. You know what I mean? He's put in the work. He's been on multiple shows. He's fought big names. He's won matches. He's got people recruiting him. He's got shows recruiting him. He's got Heyman recruiting him. And they're doing something that I think WWE is needed for a long time. And what they're doing is they're making it like this is a real, a real type of team or company or roster where things aren't just going to be thrown in and thrown against the wall and hope this sticks. I hope this guy works out. We're not going to put these rookie guys with someone, get someone hurt, whatever the case may be. What they're doing is they're making sure people know who this person is. They know that he's put in work. They know that he knows what he's doing. And if he comes out and he replaces a Gunther, and becomes that next big thing, it's not someone that's just, he's a big guy and he knows how to slam people. We're not going to have another Ryback on our hands. I think they're preventing that by doing it this way. And, they'll win the titles. If they drop them quick, they drop them quick. So be it. That's what NXT's for, right? Like we don't have we don't have NXT for the premier events are cool, but they're not selling. They're not doing a Road to WrestleMania Thursday night presser for NXT events, right? It's there for this situation. That's why it exists. So it's to showcase these guys. And I think Braun Breaker's a perfect example of how to do it right. And I think if we see them do what I think they're doing, we could see that happen. And it's a great prototype of what to do for the future when you have stars like this. You could do this with the female talent, male talent, and they could be superstars, and they could be on a crazy trajectory, but you got to do it in the right way. And you can't just skip the line for all the stars that you do have already. And I think this is the way you could do it.
No, I got it. So we can just move on real quick. But like I said, before we move on, I do want to say I 100% think Braun Breaker is defeating Gunther at WrestleMania to become the Intercontinental Champion. But that's my prediction. We're going to keep going. We're going to break down that show. Continue. So we got Dijak versus Joe Gacy in a brutal no DQ match. That thing was freaking brutal. Gonzo, what'd you think of that match, dude?
I enjoyed every second of it. I wanted Legos when they laid out the table and he started putting
Don't
the
take
toy
my
soldiers.
take. Don't take my take.
I am taking your
Don't take
take
my take.
because again, I'm watching that, and then even my wife was watching with me, and she's like, "How come he's not? Where are the Legos at? Those would be much more painful." And I looked at her, and I just started to laugh, and I said, "Well, they wanted to make it small soldiers, right? So
That's all I
that
wanted to
match."
see. I wanted to see Legos or Hot Wheels. Those are the most excruciating, painful toys to step on. Like that was it. That's what I wanted to see. But yeah, dude, that match was crazy. They had a bunch of crazy spots. I see Gacy giving me a couple similarities to Bray Wyatt and he also did that turnbuckle spot where you know how Bray Wyatt used to look like a fucking, I don't know, spider or whatever the hell it was. That was kind of weird too. Angel, what do you think of your boy Joe Gacy's creepiness?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been into these types of personalities and these types of characters. I mean, you recall the days of, Undertaker showing up and everyone being like, what the hell is that? Kane showing up, everyone, the hype for Kane coming. When you have guys like that can produce characters that are just, there's another character I'll talk about later that I do not like that's doing stuff like this in the WWE, but I'll talk about that later. But Gacy, in this situation, I feel like these are needed characters. You need a Mankind, you need a Gacy, you need a Bray Wyatt, Judgment Day and all these other types. They're cool, but you still need that guy. And I think WWE doesn't have that guy currently, if you really think about the roster as it's put together right now, and they need more of that type of personality. You need that. You need something off, off the brand, off the face and the heel of just normalness. And, I'm the big guy, I'm this guy. You need something that's more sinister. And I feel like that's where this can go towards. There's a lot of potential there for sure.
Karrion Kross. They're trying to do it on the main roster right now. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Is that who you were thinking about, Angel?
Yeah, I mean, Karrion Kross is cool. I was not thinking of Karrion Kross. I was thinking of I was actually thinking of Ibar. I just think
the Viking Raider.
Yeah, I was thinking of Ibar. I feel like Ibar, they like.
He's part of a tag team. His tag team partner's hurt, just FYI. But go on.
Right. So, he's with Valhalla, and I feel like that's kind of like they try to go with that whole like, cultish idea, right?
Okay.
Like I don't know. It's just needed in my opinion, and I just don't like Ibar. That's all.
I think it's needed too. I've always liked those type of creepy characters, or growing up, our quote unquote creepy character or sinister character was the Undertaker. You know what I mean? Him freaking hanging people mid show and all that crazy shit that we were subjected to. That these kids will never.
I mean, how many matches did Undertaker invent? Like, got the casket match,
the buried alive match,
the
Ring of Fire match.
Yeah,
like,
it's
the body bag match. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, dude. Like,
right.
So many.
You know what I'm saying? We need that back. We need it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we definitely need a character like that, and I think Joe Gacy could be that guy, especially with the late Bray Wyatt not here anymore. But Gacy definitely gives me Bray Wyatt vibes. When he was part of Schism, that was the faction that he had that Ava Raine was actually a part of. It was a very sinister cultist type of faction that disbanded because contracts. But he was the leader of that, and it was very good. And his promos were very Bray Wyatt-esque, if I'm saying that correctly, and that's what I see in him. So I think there'll be big things for Joe Gacy. There's definitely going to be more continuation of the brutal matches between Dijak, because clearly Gacy's not done with Dijak, even though Dijak was trying to make his claim for the NXT Championship, and Joe Gacy didn't care. So that'll be fun to see going forward as their feud continues. Next, on that card that we watched, the Family, love the Family, defeated OTM. This was probably the least interesting match on the card, but I thought the match was very good overall. I thought it was a pretty sick match. I just felt like there was nothing tying to me. I wish that it was just a tag team match, like the tag team titles were on the line or something like that. But it was a good overall match. What do you think about that match, Gonzo?
It's average. I mean, I'm going to spend like less than 10 seconds talking about it. Family won. Sure. They won. Okay, great.
Did you say the titles weren't on the line?
No,
They
it was
were.
a six. It was a 6-man tag. It was a 6.
Oh yeah, that's right. 6-man.
Tag.
I mean,
Okay.
It was a
Never mind.
6-person tag. Six
Sorry,
person.
sorry.
There's a
Okay.
there was a female inside.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was actually a really good match than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be just your normal 6-man tag. That's just like whatever. But it was a good match. I thought it was very hard hitting. I love the family, but like I said, the family now turns their attention to the Wolf Dogs. I don't know why I put Wild Dogs on there. That's stupid. I almost read that wrong. But yeah, to the Wolf Dogs. Hopefully they don't drop the title to them because I hate Baron Corbin. And Bronson didn't call up anyway, so just don't sacrifice the family. But we're not going to spend too much time on it, unless you guys want to say something else about that. So, all right, cool. This match I thought stole the show. Valkyria versus Perez, but then it turned into a triple threat when Lola Vice cashed in her breakout tournament. Valkyria retained, which kind of bums me out. I hate failed cash-ins. So failing a cash in, it's like to me, it says, did you guys change your mind on the superstar? It just doesn't know.
Do you think they should always win? A cash in should just 100%?
I don't think they should always win. But more often than not, they should win. And lately in the WWE, this is across as a whole, Money in the Bank, all that stuff. I'm seeing a lot more failures. So, which worries me about Damian Priest, but that's a conversation for later. But yeah, she had a failed cash in, and then Lola Vice faced Perez on this past week of NXT and loses. So you go from winning the breakout tournament, inserting yourself into the triple threat mid-match, which I thought was really cool. She got a great pop, and then loses. So it's like, what's her
really
trajectory?
Quick, do you think she should have waited till the match ended, like everyone else?
I think the way she did her spot is one of them was down and then she cashed in. I thought maybe she should have chose her spot a little better, but like I said, I mean, even if she did the way she did, which was dope, I thought it was dope regardless. I just felt as though if you're going to give somebody this breakout tournament, at least make her win, especially when NXT is trying to build more stars, because you have so many people getting ready to get called up. We need to start building those stars. That's just my take on it, and I just hate failed cash-ins. I hate it. But like I said, so she also loses to Roxanne Perez on Tuesday, which kind of makes me wonder what's going on with Lola Vice. But Gonzo, what do you think of that match and the failed cash-in?
I like the failed cash-in.
Okay.
I mean, because to me, I don't want to immediately assume that whenever I see someone running down with their piece of paper, their briefcase, that they're immediately going to win, right? I don't want to be conditioned. I was conditioned that way for a long time. To me, I like it because, again, it gives a little bit predictability. So I'm all for it. I will say the inclusion of her in that match to turn it into the triple threat really brought me back to life, because I was pretty bored with that overall match. So
wow.
Rhea Ripley, unfortunately, has set the bar. Charlotte Flair has set the bar. Bianca Belair has set the bar.
That's crazy to me. All right, that's cool.
Those three performers, I like those ladies. And again, for this match, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I wasn't really invested in it. I really wanted to see what happened with Trick and Mello and Dragunov and, some of these other storylines. Like, I was more into Gacy and Dijak, to be truthful with you, just because.
Well, don't penalize the ladies because you wanted to listen to another story. But
you asked me, but
that's cool.
Again, I said I was so with it.
I thought it stole the show. I mean, I thought it was amazing. But all right,
the moment that it turned into the triple threat match, again, I came back to life. I was totally invested with it, and so as soon as that, I was all about it. Very much so interested, and it kept me on the edge of my seat because she's gonna cash in, she's not. There's so many different things that were now going through my mind with that. So, like I said, I didn't say it was a bad match. It just didn't have me at the start, but towards the end, the inclusion of the triple threat, it totally sold me then.
So what I did like about the failed cash-in is the inclusion of Tatum Paxley, because Tatum Paxley is out here basically trying to protect Valkyria in the weirdest ways possible. So even though it was a failed cash-in, she definitely played a role in it. So it was technically a dirty loss, because it really wasn't. She didn't have the opportunity to win it clean, quote unquote, even though she did insert herself in the match. So that's why it makes me a little bit okay, because clearly that feud is gonna start sparking, because she also got involved in her loss to Roxanne Perez as well. Angel, what did you think about it?
Yeah, the failed cash-in. I think I'm kind of with Gonzo. You don't want to be conditioned for these situations to be automatic. I get what you're saying. it's usually seen as the next big star of the show, or especially with Money in the Bank, it's usually considered, oh, this is the guy, this is the next upcoming guy.
Not if you're
This is the
named
guy we
Austin
trust.
Theory.
Not if you're named Austin Theory, right? But everyone else, Austin Theory, everyone else, usually that's what it's considered, right? I think these cash-in events have changed over the years. I think what would it start with? Jericho? Who had it first?
Jericho never won the.
He never won it, but he invented it.
Yeah, he invented it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember, but anyways, yeah, back in the old days, these cash-ins would always be, an automatic thing, and I think it was the way they always did it, right? Like they would do it after a crazy match. You'd have a match where these guys killed each other and they're pretty much done, and then here they come, with the referee, and the guy can't even defend himself, and they, whatever happens. I think now though, like with this situation with Valkyria, like you said, she was able to be helped, and they were able to find a way to make the failure plausible. So it wasn't just like, oh, she came out and she failed and she sucks. Like, that's not the situation. Like, she came out, Paxley stopped it. It just helped the situation. And I think that's, like, again, I'm bringing this back up again from what I said earlier, but NXT is a place to test these types of things and to see how they play out on, on events like this, titles on the line. We're going to cash in. That's why why do you think they have the piece of paper in NXT? It's to try stuff out, because you can't do this. You don't want to see Damian Pierce trying this out and it doesn't work, right? You know what I'm saying? Damian Priest. Sorry, did I say Pierce? Yeah, sorry, Priest. Yeah. You don't want to see Damian come out and use his suitcase and he fails, and it's and he had this situation that happened and not everyone buys into it. Now you see the situation that happened here at Vengeance and you're like, okay, this is a way that something can happen like this. So I think that's the purpose of NXT, to push stars, to try things out. It's kind of, to me, NXT is just very similar to the minor leagues of this industry. So,
For
like
sure.
when we watch baseball, with the automated umps and stuff like that, I see NXT as that. That's just the way I see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not
for sure.
Fans want to see it, but that's how I look at NXT when I watch or view or look at this stuff. So I think it's a good place to try this stuff out. I don't mind it. I think it's a cool place for this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next we had Obafemi retain over Dragon Lee. I just want to say thank God it wasn't a squash match. I really thought we were going to get a squash match because of how huge Obafemi is.
I could feel your energy coming from Chicago, and you were just on the edge of your seat waiting for it to be a 2-minute match. I could just feel it.
I really did it because it would have really pissed me off, because they're pushing Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee's been on every freaking show. He was on Raw, he was on SmackDown, like he was just the champion, like
handpicked by Rey Mysterio.
Handpicked by Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Dragon Lee,
and
I haven't watched a lot of NXT, but I've seen a lot of Dragon Lee.
Yeah, so I was very worried. I was like, dude, like they're gonna go with the old mold and let this guy just run through this guy. And I was so pleased because this match was very enjoyable. What I really loved is that they both look strong, and one of them, what was it? Dragon Lee did this sick sit-out power bomb on this humongous of a man. I thought it was freaking amazing. Like I said, David's boy Obo retained, but man, Dragon Lee still looked strong. Didn't look horrible at all. It was a great match, a lot better than I thought it was. So I'm glad it was really good. So I'm really into Obo right now, and I want to see how his story goes. David, what'd you feel?
M'Baku won. That's the most important thing here. You can't tell me when you look at Oba that it doesn't remind you of Wakanda. I'm just saying, I love Wakanda and I love M'Baku, so that's what I see. Because again, whenever you hear him speak, you hear the in the crowd as they again go along with him. But no, the match was great, absolutely, because you have a super heavyweight versus an alleged cruiserweight, and so again, that powerbomb that you were talking about, it also shows off the durability and the strength then that Dragon Lee then has in order to go against an opponent like that. And you know what? The ability for both men to work very nicely with one another, I was utterly blown away, because typically big men is, Mark, you hate them ever so much.
You both do. I was going to ask you guys, I'm surprised you guys enjoyed this match, because
the match was so good. If that power bomb I was like, normally I'm there, I'm chilling on my couch, and I'm just like, oh, damn, that's dope. And then when this little of a man versus this gigantic guy, and he does this freaking sit out powerbomb, I was like, I actually said, holy shit. And Brizzo, my dog, was like I was like, dude, like that was a power bomb, and that's what I want to see. These freaking Dragon Lee getting power bombed 5 times and getting pinned or something. It was a great match. It was a great match.
Respect.
Yeah. What do you think of Obafemi so far, Angel? The little that you've seen of him.
I haven't seen him too much, but I enjoy someone that can move beyond what you think they can do. You need to see a new era of WWE where I'm going into your guys' little cultish ideas of things here, but I'm the same way, I guess. You don't want to see the great Khali's and the guys that can't move or do anything. And when you see these guys now,
Oh, you don't like big men?
the breakers, I love big men, but they have to move, right? Kane moved, Undertaker moved. Big Show, as big as he was, still moved pretty well for such a giant person and took bumps. And, he fought a Rey Mysterio and made it work. You know what I mean? So this is a similar situation, right? We see Dragon Lee being the Rey Mysterio of this era or this match, let's say. And
endorsed by Rey Mysterio himself. Endorsed.
Right, exactly. So when you see guys that are able to do things that you pre-match you weren't expecting, right? Pre-match were you expecting it to be what you saw? Maybe not. And for that match to come out the way it did, and it's exciting. So you want to see stuff like that. You don't want to see these guys that don't move, that don't take chances, that they can't come off the ropes, that can't jump, that can't take a bump. You know what I mean? You don't want to just see a chop fest or a slap fest or a forearm fest or whatever the case may be, right? We don't want to see that all the time. And sometimes there's room for that. When the guys are tired, they need a break. The big dude's facing another big dude, they just suplex each other off something. Okay, so be it. But when you got a 5-minute match and 4 minutes of it is on the ground and chops, it's not fun. So we'll see what happens. But
no, yeah, I get it.
It was a cool vintage style match that I think showcased both of these superstars, potential WWE wrestlers. That it was vintage style, but it was still something that I think progressed both of them, and you got to see that. That's what NXT's for again. So it was really cool.
For sure. All right, so after that match, we got a weird video intriguing vignette of just words, and it said, man has 3 faces, one the world sees, one his family sees, and the real one no one sees, but reflects the evil he truly possesses. I'm intrigued. No idea what's going on there. What do you guys make of this? Is this a debut? Is this someone that might be coming back to NXT? Is this someone being repackaged? What do you think?
It's right up my alley. I love it. As far as the cryptic and digging, I don't even want to look into it, to be truthful with you. I'm just epic. I'm excited to see what they continue to feed us, because as much as I want to Google search that and kind of go through the weeds, I rather not. I don't want to.
It's not Okada. Oh, hold on. So Derek the guy says it's not Okada, but I am just so ready for Okada. So it's funny that you mentioned that. I'm gonna take point on this for a second. So Kazuchika Okada has been dubbed the John Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and his contract is up. This has been getting a lot of heat online that it is Okada. It has something to do with Japan, with the 3 faces. I think it is Okada. I really hope it's not. I would rather see him start on the main roster because he is that big of a superstar, but I think he is, and let me tell you why. So Pro Wrestling Tees is here based in Chicago. All right, it's a big wrestling shirt store. They supply the gear for AEW and also all of the indies. They sell New Japan shirts. They sell former wrestlers that are no longer fitted with WWE shirts. They sell all that good stuff. that is not WWE. That has been removed from that store. The only way that happens if WWE told him to stop selling merch. Otherwise, if he was going to an indie promotion or staying in the indies, that wouldn't have happened. And I believe 100% it is Kazuchika Okada. But that's just my take on it. We don't know what it's going to be. But I think WWE landed Kazuchika Okada 100%. What do you guys think about it?
I mean, one, I love when they do just mysterious stuff like this. I think it's awesome. It's so much cooler when you don't know what's coming. When you have these situations where someone's behind the scenes, you could have someone attacking somebody, you know, wearing a mask, whatever it may be. You have all these different types of situations where someone could be either introduced, reintroduced, someone turning on somebody. It could be a million different options, right? So Okada would be amazing. Like you said, he's such a big, talented star that, you know, is NXT the place for him? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe he's big enough to go on to a place like Raw that needs some more star power. But if it's someone else that's already, you know, on the roster or someone that's coming back to the roster, I think it's awesome. This is the way they should do things, where you don't know what's going to happen. And I hope it's a slow reveal, and I hope they attack somebody. I hope it's just chaos. The more chaotic and the more unknowing, the more fun it is, at least as me as a viewer. I like it.
As long as it's not Lord Tensai, I'm all good with it.
Lord Tensai,
aka Albert.
Holy crap, A-Train. All right, now to the main event. Dragunov retained over Trick Williams, but I want to make note that the crowd was completely behind Trick Williams. That guy will be a world champion, hands down, and I believe he has more star power than Carmelo Hayes, in my opinion. I think if Trick Williams goes to the main roster, he reminds me so much of Booker T, and I think this guy can main event WrestleMania. That's how much I am invested in Trick Williams. But like I said, the crowd definitely hijacked that match. It was whoop that Trick the entire match. Every time he almost had a pinfall, the crowds were at the edge of their seats. The match was fantastic. What did you guys think of the match before we talk about everything that happened afterwards? Gonzo, what did you think of the match?
I was excited for it. I'm not the biggest Dragunov fan. He's okay. I don't mind it. But the energy of, again, Trick Williams, I was for that. 100% I was for that. Carmelo coming out, and as soon as he, of course, backstage is like, yeah, man, I need my brother out there. I said, okay, here comes the heel turn. Here it comes. I'm waiting. Let's go. It was very exhilarating. I'll say that, because the ability to take the knee injury at the start of the night and then to use the ring psychology, carry it over to let that play out for the rest of the match. Phenomenal storytelling. And it's the little things like that that I greatly appreciate. And at times it gets lost. And so both of those men put on a clinic. I'll say that. Even Carmelo Hayes being at ringside. And I don't know if people noticed this. I saw this right away. The jacket that Carmelo Hayes had is very reminiscent of a certain Shawn Michaels when he ultimately kicked a certain someone in the face and had him brushing through the glass window. That was something I don't know if a lot of people picked up on, but I saw that right away and I said, I am ready for this when this happens.
No, yeah, for sure. Angel, what are your thoughts on Trick, man? He didn't win the championship, but man.
Yeah, I think he's probably, besides Breaker, the next star from NXT that definitely should be considered. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't win. I wonder what the plans are. But yeah, the heel turn with Hayes, that's obviously something that it's really exciting to see. You know, the storytelling at NXT is there, and you want to see stuff like this. I think with Trick, he's got the fans jumping up and down. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when Jimmy comes out. You know what I mean? And it's like everyone's just in the vibe, in the fun of it. That's what you want to see. You want. Yeah, right, and you know his entrance and stuff like that. So that's what Trick brings, that same energy, and you see guys like that, and you just, like you said, you could see him headlining a WrestleMania, and that energy, he hits the fans, he hits home, and he hits such a broad fan base. So, I mean, him not winning is strange, but other than that, I think it was something that he can definitely catapult himself from. For
Yeah,
sure.
I would love for him to have won that match, but I understand it. We've been getting teased for months and months of Carmelo and him, and now that we are in WrestleMania season, I think the plan is right now is for them to compete at Stand and Deliver, which is the Friday show of the WrestleMania weekend. That's the NXT's WrestleMania. It's called Stand and Deliver. So that Friday night show, I think that's where they'll have their blow off, and I think that's when finally I think Carmelo loses to Trick, and Carmelo will be on the roster on the main roster full time. I think that will be the send off. I could be wrong. They might just want to play this out all summer and whatever. But with Carmelo being on the main roster for so much the past couple months with the United States title tournament, the United States Championship title tournament, I think it's time for him to come up. I don't know if he's going to be the main event star that he was in NXT. I just don't see it. I see Trick over him doing that, but I think it's going to be time for.
That's because you don't believe in Hayes on the mic, right? That's your main concern with him.
No, I believe in Hayes on the mic 100%. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think when it comes to the WWE mold, he's not a main event caliber looking guy. If this was AEW
B plus player,
exactly.
Right.
If this was AEW or TNA, he'd be world champion tomorrow. So I'm just saying. I believe TNA and AEW, obviously it's a WWE show, but I believe they treat their stars, which whatever the size, if you have that talent, mic and in-ring skills, you can be world champion. That's what I like. But the WWE mold, for as long as us three have been watching it, that has not been the case, and I don't think Carmelo Hayes is going to change that.
Yeah, that's true. Daniel Bryan's the example of that. So
yeah. So I mean, and name me a world champion that is since Daniel Bryan in WWE that was that stature that was world champion.
We can't speak his name.
Yeah,
for legal reasons.
Correct.
So he's been wiped from all of history from WWE.
Right.
So,
but yeah, besides, and even when Daniel did have the title, it was like 20 minutes. So
I mean, that's just me. That's, like I said, it's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I just see him being a mid-card guy, which is not bad because I think the mid-card needs that type of person. Back in the day when we were growing up, they were dropping promos for the European Championship. They don't do that shit no more. You know what I mean? And that's what you need. It gives you more story. The only one who's really been doing that right now is Gunther, and obviously Logan 100%. Paul, man. Logan Paul out here, taking showers and getting it in with the freaking championship. So,
dude, did you see what he said? Why am I in a qualifying match? Dude, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Why can't you treat me like Roman? Show up, shower.
No, Rock. He said Rock.
Rock.
He said, "Like, show me like Rock."
So, but that's what it is. But that's where the story lies headed. We'll see where their story goes. But their story has been building for a year since Trick Williams finally caught fire. So we'll see where that goes. If there's nothing else on the breakdown of the NXT this past week, we can move on. What do you guys think?
No, I'm good with that.
All right, cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Our first two segments were the biggest segments of the night. That's why they took very long. So we're gonna take a little mental break here. We're gonna play a little game that we like to call Pushberry Fire. Once again, since we ran long this week, we're gonna try to work on the time next week, but we're just gonna do one again for each person. I'm gonna give one to Gonzo. Gonzo will give one to Angel, and Angel will give one to me. We'll explain our decisions. We'll yell at each other how crazy and they are, and we will move on to Elimination Chamber. All right. So Gonzo, we are gonna go old school for your dad and Angel's cousin or Angel's uncle and all the elders, and we're gonna go tag teams. All right, but we're gonna go old school tag teams. Your Pushberry Fire is arguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Road Warriors, the Rock and Roll Express. That's your dad's favorite right there. And lastly, the Fabulous Freebirds, a.k.a. the Von Erichs. Pushberry Fire.
Whoo! Wow. That is an all-star.
Did I redeem myself from last week for the Anawahi family?
Yeah. Let's put Yokozuna in there. It's like, oh, okay. You started off strong, and then all of a sudden you threw that person in there. Man,
Right.
that is tough. I
So
mean,
there you
because
go. The Road
it's
Warriors. I'm gonna give you it again.
yep,
Road Warriors, Rock and Roll Express,
yep,
and the Fabulous Freebirds, aka the Von
yep.
Erichs.
I mean, it's something too, right? Because I was watching a couple Dark Side of the Rings, the Von Erichs around there. I was watching the Benoit and like all these different things. So
Can't say
like
his name.
I just did. Oh man, they're gonna cancel us. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna fire the Freebirds as far as that goes. I would like to bury. Man, that's so tough. It's gonna be Midnight. I'm gonna bury Midnight. The Road
Damn, your
Warriors.
dad is gonna kill you.
No, because my dad, honestly, when it comes to the Legion of Doom, there is no there's no one else. The amount
Okay.
of Legion of Doom memorabilia that he has, just randomly growing up as a kid, coming across the shoulder pads, the spikes, the face paint. Fire the Freebirds.
Haven't they been through enough? Yeah, they really have.
It's what's best for business. And so, no, it's definitely the Legion of Doom. I mean, me personally, if we're going to talk about big men that can move, those individuals are what? Combined weight of like 600 pounds. And they're larger than life individuals that legitimately look like they could just kill you with one flick of their finger. I'm all for the look. And during a period where they were traveling from different promotion to promotion, and it didn't matter what promotion it was, they came in and they immediately just decimated anything in their way. So I don't count the whole second run or third run with WWE where Snaz, I think, was a part of it because, right, it was LOD 2000, I think is what it was called, when Hawk was unfortunately not in a good headspace with his addiction and everything else. That doesn't exist in my mind. Anything prior to that, I am definitely for it. And again, when you have something referred to as the Road Warrior pop, that was before Austin Pop, right? That is how, again, the level of significance that you were then placed on when it came to your name, your moment, your music, as to whether or not the crowd was behind you. So I'll just stick with that.
Oh, what a rush. Angel, do you agree with his push Barry Fire right there?
That's a tough one, man. I think you got to give the Freebirds a little bit more credit, maybe a little bit more respect. Firing them is tough, but I do agree. LOD, like, I think that's like the golden era of factions and tag team matches, tag team events, and move sets, and the way they moved, like Gonzo was saying. So LOD being number one, like, I mean, I don't mind it at all. So I can't argue with it too much. I have to give some respect to it.
I think I would have agreed with what David put out there. So that
And
one's
we don't agree on much. We
Yeah.
don't agree on much. So that's
would-
pretty world breaking there.
Yeah, I would agree on much just because I love LOD. Like, so they're up there. Everyone knows my favorite tag team of all time and is the greatest tag team of all time. I'm just gonna put that out there is the Dudley Boys, but I put LOD right up there for me. Love them so much. But all right, Gonzo, give Angel his push Barry Fire.
So I know I hit him with the good one last time. Let's see if I can go 2 for 2. I'm just going to get a little bit more comfortable as I bring out my world championship cooler that my wife had gotten me. So I just wanted to get in prime time for this. Hey,
looks familiar.
A+ players, they bring A+ products. So my push Barry Fire for Angel this week is going to be the Olympic champion who won a gold medal with a broken frickin' neck, Eddie Guerrero, and the the R-rated superstar Edge. So
wow.
we're gonna go in that time period of the early 2000s to
Attitude
where all three
Era,
of those
Edge,
individuals
the end
were
of the Attitude
all
Era.
on fire.
Okay, that one's tough. They're all in their prime, right? That's usually how we do this.
Yeah,
like,
prime, whatever you want to do, prime. Yeah, yep.
would
WWE
Edge's
prime at that point.
Would Edge's prime be rated R or tag team with Christian Edge?
Well, I gave you the time period. I gave you the time period because again, that's what 2001 to about 2005. So that time period is what I'll give you because
Oh,
all
okay.
three of those guys were on fire at that point.
So who we got
Right.
again? We got
Was
Rated
Eddie
R and
champ
who
in
else?
that era?
Yeah,
Was
Eddie was
Eddie
champion.
champ?
Oh yeah,
2002. 2002.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So you got Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, and Edge.
Oof.
I didn't remember who the first one
Yeah.
was, so it was. You said Olympic champion. There we go. Okay, got it.
Yeah, no neck. Wow, that's tough. Oh, man. Oh man, this is gonna be biased because I was never a big Edge guy outside of the tag team experience. Like Rated R Edge was not my move. I'm not saying he's not a great solo wrestler. I respect what he was able to do and the matches he's put on his own work. You know, I'm not discounting anything, but I'll have to fire Edge. But that's probably biased. But I'm just gonna have to fire Edge, unfortunately. Who I bury would be tough. I feel like you'd have to almost bury. I'm like 50-50 here. This is tough. I feel like you have to bury. I can't do it. I have to bury Kurt and push Eddie. I have to bury Kurt. Eddie didn't need a belt to perform and to get like people wanting to watch Eddie. He could fight anyone. He could fight anyone from as small as Rey Mysterio to as Big Show, make it look great, amazing on the microphone. Didn't matter what show he was on. Didn't matter who was against him. Didn't matter if he was the first match, the middle match, the main event, Royal Rumbles. I mean, he's had so much historic, just how many iconic moments have we seen Eddie in? Not to discount Kurt. Kurt in the ring is phenomenal. His gimmicks were hilarious. He got probably the most slack in WWE that any other stars ever had. The hate Kurt got during his time was not warranted. I just think Eddie was just that guy. And maybe he didn't get the belt because of the talent that was ahead of him as much as he should have. But he came up in the era of just elite wrestlers, microphone skills, and just pop, right? The Attitude Era into the 2000s. You just every single title was at its best. Every single faction was at its best. So I think Eddie's was kind of buried, not intentionally. It was like an unintentional bury, and he still came out to be one of the greatest wrestlers and performers of all time. And Angle was able to, his longevity in the business, for him to go to different companies, for him to blow up in TNA, his career is amazing. This is just my opinion, but I'm pushing Eddie and burying Angle.
Well, I'm about to get canceled. Just real quick before you guys yell at me. I'm pushing Kurt Angle to the moon. I am burying Edge, Rated R Superstar, because I don't want him used against me.
Edge? You're really worried about Edge? Really?
And I'm burying Eddie Guerrero because
I mean, Eddie's already buried.
Firing. You said firing.
Firing. I'm firing Eddie because I don't think he was that great.
What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I what I really want to say, I can't really say it because I'm not really trying to get canceled out here for real. So, but I just think he only caught fire because he's no longer here.
Wow, I don't remember that being the case when we were watching him, though.
No, don't get me wrong. I like Eddie Guerrero, and I'll be the first one to tell you when he frog splashed Brock Lesnar. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't say his name either. That piece of shit. But when he frog splashed, I thought that was the greatest moment in his career, and
he had the belt once.
That's the only thing that I could say that, man, he was that guy for that moment. But the Latino heat was mid.
Edge solo was
his LWO. His LWO was mid. I don't think he was that great.
Edge solo superior? Solo. We're not talking tag team match.
Yes. 100%.
Wow.
100%.
And this is a time.
If you would have said
where,
hurt,
again,
I would have agreed.
And I'm
but
getting
I
text hate.
hey, I would think so because again, this is a time. I don't mean to take more into this segment, but the reality is he's an undersized
Wow.
performer that ultimately
is.
packed on
He
more
is.
muscle to fit the WWE mold. And when he did that, he was able then to perform and then some. So yeah, Eddie was a GOAT, but the rose tinted glasses definitely helped him. So oh man, that's tough. I'm just gonna point out it's at a time where he doesn't fit the mold. He's an undersized performer, but yet he was
You're right.
still able to elevate himself with all of those complications. That's all I'll say. So
You're right.
He
I mean,
performed and didn't need to be a
you're-
top guy with a belt. and
You're
he
right.
Did it
And-
every
and-
week.
And
Every
what
week.
and
he
what
was there.
and,
Never
and what
hardly got hurt.
and what you just said, he
Edge was always
performed
hurt.
and he was never a top guy. If I'm taking guys on the top guys and people who are absolutely on fire, Edge had the better career. Edge was more caught fire in my opinion, and that's just what it is. I'm sorry. I love Eddie Guerrero. I'm not saying
Not-
I dislike
Not
Eddie
during
Guerrero.
that era, I don't think. Maybe
I'm not
Edge,
saying I dislike Eddie Guerrero. All I'm saying is compared to the other two, I'm taking the other two all day.
maybe the full body work Edge, you have an argument. But if we're talking what the standards were that I was given, I don't think so.
remember, I
Yeah.
only had 2000 to
Yeah,
like 2005.
right.
So
If we
that's
talk
only
Edge
that
and
small snippet.
Christian,
I'm not talking
rated
as
R
a Christian. I am
superstar.
talking rated R superstar. That
No.
guy was
all
gold.
right.
That's
Okay,
what I'm talking
all
about.
We're
Alright,
gonna
we're
move
good.
on then.
What's
Maybe
my
we
push
can
berry
get
fire? What's my push berry fire?
Firing Eddie. Wow. Okay.
woo.
In a heartbeat.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go with the women's division here all time.
Okay.
Since
okay.
Mark likes to talk about how divisions are pushed and their eaves and flows and heights and valleys of different divisions. We like talking about that, tag teams and so on and so forth. This is the women's though. I'm gonna go Charlotte Flair.
Ugh.
All right. I went with Charlotte just because of her work, not because you like her. So I already know what the answer is going to be, but I thought Charlotte would fit this.
Okay.
Maybe I should have picked someone else. Rhea Ripley,
Oh, that's tough.
AJ Lee.
Oh, dude, that's some BS, bro.
Is Kelly listening right now? Gotta be careful.
I know AJ Lee absolutely watches our show and loves you, so I love you. It's rough. It's rough. Well, can we move on or no?
I mean, AJ Lee got pop at the presser on Thursday. She wasn't even in the city, probably.
She hasn't even wrestled in over
going-
10 years, so no big deal.
Oh God.
I mean, you can start off with who you fire. I kind of gave you one there.
That's the thing. It's hard.
You think so?
It's hard. It's really hard for me. Don't get me wrong. I think Charlotte has been so shoved down my throat. It's just like I'm bored of her.
Prior to the injuries and this
but
year,
at the same time, you can't deny her, dude. Like
that's what I put her there because
you know
her
what I mean?
her workload. Yeah.
So, and this is what I'm not basing it off of who I'm tired of. I'm basing it off popularity, and I'm basing off who delivered, and all three of them deliver. Even though this is the hottest Rhea Ripley's ever been, you know what I mean? It's like, do I fire her because she hasn't been on top for so long? Do I fire AJ Lee because she had a shortened career? Do I fire Charlotte because she's just been so shoved down our throats? Like, I don't know. It's like, so I'm gonna start with who I don't want used against me. Let's do that. All right, and I'm gonna go. I'm about to get canceled again. I am going to bury Rhea Ripley because I don't want her used against me, and she's the youngest out of all of them. She's only 25 or 26, so she has big time. She could just go to AEW or whatever area you want to do and just dominate my life. So I don't want her used against me, so I'm going to bury her on the roster.
Putting mommy on bottom.
Oh, God.
That Becky Lynch was pretty.
That was
fire,
funny.
though.
That was funny. I'm gonna teach you how to be a bottom. Yeah, so I'm gonna bury Rhea Ripley.
You're gonna push AJ Lee. Come on, say it with me now.
Screw you guys. I'm gonna fire Charlotte because fuck her, and then I'm gonna push AJ Lee to the moon. I don't care. Fight me.
Chat, can we clip that?
Fight me. Fight me. I
Clip
don't
that
care.
chat.
I don't care.
Can you get that?
AJ Lee was the greatest female of all time. I don't care. And if she
Of all
gets signed
time?
of all time
Over Trish Stratus?
over Trish Stratus is not even in my top 10. She was top for that era because nobody else wrestled because everyone came out doing bra and panty matches. But
Hey, they had to start somewhere. Where'd you think they were going to be Rhea
You're-
Ripley's in
you're-
1999?
You're right. No, I agree.
Exist.
But no. But yeah, I'm pushing AJ Lee to the moon because I think she had the skills. Clip it. I'll clip it for you. That'll be my first clip, and I'll tag the whole world, and I'll tag AJ Lee so she could see it. Love you. Anyway, what does this say? Clip it. He chose the right answer. That's why we're here for Marc's Great Opinions. That's right, Derek. Go follow my guy, Derek the Guy. He's the real gamer out here.
Okay.
But yeah, we're pushing AJ Lee to the moon. We could go into that another day, but we've already spent a lot of time here. So we're gonna move on to our next segment. So you guys can go cancel me on all social media, pro_wrestling_kingpin, and we'll fight about it there. Anyway, Elimination Chamber is taking shape. I'm gonna just quickly go through this because we have spent a lot of time here. The matches that have been announced so far. And like I said, if you guys want to spend some time on something, stop me. If not, then we're just gonna keep going. All right.
The sub premium event is how I'm referring to this, by the way.
Oh damn. Shots fired. All right, so the sub-premium live event of the Elimination Chamber that used to be a huge spectacle is now, we don't know. But the matches announced so far is we got the Women's World Championship match with Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. Real quick, does this match even matter? Yeah.
It does to me. I actually enjoy Nia Jax's character because they've literally just bought into the fact that she hurts people, and that actually is giving her now this development, right?
Angel's face right now.
Hey, maybe that can be my clip that'll put me to the moon and then some. But ultimately, I never cared about Nia, right? I was more concerned of how her poor work led to people getting hurt, herself getting hurt, and now they've turned that actually into her actual
She's still
gimmick.
almost hurting people doing her moves.
Yeah, but at least she's acknowledging
her
it now.
sitting on
I'm
people's
okay with
chest.
that.
Every time she sits on mommy's
Bonsai
chest,
drop.
I'm so
Mommy's
scared.
chest.
Every time she sits on a female's chest, I feel like she's gonna pop their implant. I'm just saying.
This ain't Trish Stratus, dude. Get that out of your mind.
Just saying. She got that removed. Look at her.
Okay, Nia.
So
Nia.
what I did say, once I'm gonna stop you for a second. What I did say is, if do you guys even care? Not because of the match quality, is because is it already predetermined that Rhea Ripley's going to WrestleMania? That's what I meant.
Right.
Go on.
Right.
It was more of the character development that I like with Nia, to be truthful, because prior to this, like a Drew McIntyre, we talked about this last week, I haven't cared. But they finally found something to actually draw upon that isn't true. Because again,
do you think she has a chance to win? How about that? Do you think she has a chance to win?
I will say, yeah, from the storytelling perspective, because when they introduced when they introduced Becky Lynch and Nia a couple weeks ago, I think about a month ago, I could care less. I said, well, Becky's going to win. And then sure enough, Nia won that match legitimately. And I said, oh, well, that's actually a complete curveball. So at least in my mind, it actually gave me something to say that there's a possibility. And she already has put on the screen that she's already leveled Rhea on top of that. So from a story, I don't know if this is worse or the Eddie Guerrero cut. So either
this
way,
might
at
be
this
worse.
point,
I'll be honest.
I'll let
There's
you go.
no shot. Sorry.
All right. Well, we're clearly talking. We're clearly talking Rhea and Nia Jax right now. So Angel, go ahead. There's no shot. What's going on?
There's no shot. Rhea is losing in Perth, Australia, at 3 a.m. here to Nia Jax. I will bet my entire house. Can we put is there something on FanDuel that I could put money on for?
Put your shoes on the line for me.
Like, can I put everything on the line of my whole life? Unless aliens
I'm sure you
invade.
I think you are, because they do
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shot Nia has it's not even possible.
Derek, I am clipping this right now.
Yeah,
if Rhea loses, you are streaming in a hot tub, and you for damn sure I'm gonna hit you up at 5 a.m.
Derek,
when he wins.
Derek, I'll join you. We'll do it together. It'll be A-OK Derek the Guy combo stream. Okay, crossover, whatever you want to call it. If Nia Jax wins, not to say that she's not a potential, hot talent, if you want to call it that or whatever, but I don't see it happening. Not at this situation. It's unfortunate for Nia because, like you said, they're pushing her character in a way that is more likable, I guess you could say, or more entertaining, but her beating Becky Lynch was just changing the speed bump Becky Lynch had to WrestleMania. Now she has to fight her way out of the Elimination Chamber, and it gives this pay-per-view a little bit more, story to it, because we're skipping over it so hard as it is. They're like, oh, let's throw Becky in there and make her feel like, not her feel like, but make us feel like, oh, Becky earned this shot. You know what I mean? She lost Royal Rumble, and we made Bayley go for the other title, so we got to make Becky get that same vibe. So that's all.
Oh, I could 100% agree with you that there's no shot that she wins, but I could tell you right now, you just made that the most entertaining match, because now I hope she wins, because you will be streaming in that hot tub. I will make sure.
Okay, you guys better call up Levesque and tell him.
And this will be
her hottest champion that's bigger than Seth Rollins right now. Okay, it's literally Roman, Rhea, and then Seth. You're gonna have her lose in her own hometown.
I'm gonna make sure you stream in some type of little kiddie pool. I don't care what it is, but you will be doing it. I'm clipping. That's the first clip.
If Nia Jax has the title, I'll be there.
That is the first clip. All right. Do we spend any more time on this? You guys got all you guys wanted to say about the Nia Jax situation? Or
I should probably just sign off now. I think I'm pretty satisfied.
All right, cool. All right, we got the Undisputed Tag Team Championship on the line with the Judgment Day against Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne in their home country. Do we get a title change here?
You want me to go first, Gonz, or you want to go first, bro?
Doesn't matter. You're talking. Go ahead.
All right.
Yep.
I think we do. Hold on. Derek said, I'm streaming wearing Nia Jax printed underwear in the hot tub. There's just no absolute way. I agree, Derek. I'll be there next to you in Becky Lynch underwear.
Clipping that too.
I think we can see a potential change of the guard with the belts here. I don't know what's going on with the tag team titles, why they're unified. This whole thing is confusing. I'm not a fan of it. I do like Damian. I do like Finn. Them as champs is cool too, but I don't know why they have both belts. The whole thing's weird. Okay, they need to figure it out. But as far as this match and what's going to happen, I think they drop it. I don't know. The vibe I got watching yesterday's match with Dunne and Bate, it seems like there's like chemistry there between the two, and they're winning handsomely, like without any question in these matches. You saw they fist bumped DIY after the match, and like they're showing this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, DIY. So like, it's just like I think they're getting this little push that we didn't see coming, and I think it's time for Judgment Day. There's going to be some rift here with Judgment Day coming, and I think this is going to be the start of it, possibly losing these belts. Rhea's not losing her belt anytime soon, but we'll see what's going on here. I think there's a little bit more that meets the eye, and I think Dunne is, I don't know, they're gonna get this title. I don't know. It seems like it's going that way in my eyes.
That's how you create a new superstar, right? Hometown pop. Gonzo, how do you feel?
The two titles, Angel and Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, those were a part of the bloodline, because the bloodline at one point had all the most important titles to unify that they were it. So
right, but they don't need to do that anymore. Like, they should have stopped. They should have been fixed a while ago.
Jeez, that's harsh.
I agree.
I was gonna say I actually
agree.
like the fact that they have just those titles, but anyways, that's where we defer, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Maybe I get canceled here shortly. Who knows? I've already pissed off people with Nia Jax. I've already done it with the Freebirds firing. Haven't done that enough.
Here, I win. Eddie Guerrero overrated. Go on.
Man, might as well just put that on me at this point tonight. I'll say that I would like them to drop the belts at Elimination Chamber. I think that would be a curveball. And for them, that would be something a little bit different, to give a little bit more to the Elimination Chamber. But if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. I mean, because if Judgment Day wins, do they go over clean? Do they go over dirty? Most likely dirty, right? I could probably see that for the most part. I mean, because then you could also have that. Well, you could have that rematch then at WrestleMania, because they were that close, right, in order to winning undisputed gold. So therefore, you're building a little bit more of that story.
Got it. All right, moving on. We got, where was I? So we got the Women's Elimination Chamber #1 contenders match. So we got 2 confirmed participants in Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. You got 4 more to be announced. Yeah. We got this Raw. We got Liv Morgan versus Zoe Stark for the 3rd spot. I mean, at this point, we do have 4 more to be announced, but is it pretty much guaranteed and obvious that it's Becky Lynch building?
It's Jade Cargill. Thanks for coming. I appreciate your comments.
Okay.
I really don't.
wish.
No,
I wish
that,
too.
that's
It's not,
you heard it
though.
I
here
wish
first.
too.
You heard
I
it
wish
here
it's
first.
not, though. It's not. I wish. They're not going to put over someone that's came from that other company that fast. They have to put her through the ringer first.
Especially AEW.
That's what. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's not going to
I
happen.
will be hopeful. I'm already
Unless you're CM
hopeful
Punk.
behind.
He's the only one. Unless your name's Phillip Brooks. That's the only way.
Pepsi Phil. It's okay. He's got many names.
Yeah, personally, I think it's literally even before Elimination Chamber came, Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley have been already kind of in a promo war. So I think it's pretty much guaranteed we're going to get the quote unquote dream match, even though they work for the same company, that they never faced each other before. So I think that's what's going to happen. And I think that match is going to absolutely possibly steal the show if you guys don't care about Becky Lynch or not. So
and Becky's never participated in the chamber, so this was another reason why she had to lose to Nia.
From a wrestling match, I'm not looking forward to the Man versus Mommy. It was pretty painful watching the Man versus Baszler because Baszler is a little bit of a bigger competitor, and there were some transitions during that match that I really didn't care too much. I felt that Lynch was a little behind with what she was able to do at certain points, and knowing the background of Baszler, I feel like Baszler actually had to slow down what she was doing just to be able to allow the Lynch to catch up to her.
I disagree, but I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. But Derek, the guy says,
that. I
go ahead.
that actually. No, I can see what Gonzo was saying a little bit.
No, yeah. Derek, the guy says it's got to be Becky. They have been on a collision course, and I'm going to be pumped when Rhea puts her on the mat 1, 2, 3. That's definitely going to happen. I do not see her beating Becky Lynch. But yeah, moving on from that, we got the men's contender match so far. We got McIntyre and Orton.
McIntyre.
I don't know why I said that. McIntyre and Orton, and 4 more to be announced, but for some reason, the women didn't let us know who's all competing in qualifiers. They're only being announced as they go. But the men's all have been announced. So we got Orton, we got Randy Orton, Bronson Reed, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, AJ Styles, The Miz, Bobby Lashley, Angel's Boy Ivar, Drew McIntyre.
Why is he there?
Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Dominic Mysterio, and LA Knight, all in qualifying matches. So far confirmed has been McIntyre and Orton. I got 2 questions for you guys. This is for both of you. Whoever wants to go, you guys can go. My first question is this guaranteed McIntyre going after Seth Rollins? And my second question, should somebody else win it by the name of LA Knight? Angel, go ahead. You wanted to speak first?
Yeah, I do, because I have some things I want to say, and I don't want to forget them. Sorry, Gons.
No,
real
ahead.
quick.
What you gotta do? Love it.
McIntyre, as you called him, to me.
Yeah, McIntyre, baby. Best shirt out there right now. Just
no, the promo of the year for me, it was him walking out and saying DM Hunk. That shit was amazing. So DM Hunk is definitely winning this whole thing. Phenomenal. This whole Elimination Chamber qualifying thing, I like the idea. I like these qualifying matches, these tournaments, King of the Ring style stuff. I've always liked these types of. That's what wrestling is for. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's how we grew up. Earning title shots, earning number 1 contender spots. This is how wrestling should be. Winning should matter. Who you face should matter. Who you've beaten, all these things, in my opinion, do matter. So this is cool. But the people that are in this qualifying stage, they had AJ Styles lose right away, which was very surprising. I didn't even, as soon as they matched him up with McIntyre, I was like, wow, this guy's losing. I'm like, before they even came out, I was like, he's losing. Why are they making AJ Styles? Is he going to be in another match at Elimination Chamber then at this point? I don't know what's going on. So it's more for me, like, why these guys are in it. Like, like Ivar should not be in this match. Zayn just lost. So, I don't know what's going on with him. Lashley, I mean, is he really a part of this storyline? I don't know. Miz is going to obviously lose to Logan, I feel like, right? Like, there's no way Logan's gonna lose with the title. He could lose at Chamber, but he can't lose on SmackDown.
So that one, just to cut you off, just a little bit.
Go ahead.
Sorry, that one I do see Miz winning.
Really?
only because it sets up Logan Paul Miz for WrestleMania.
And he doesn't drop the title because it's this qualifying match.
It's a qualifying match. The title's not on the line, but since he pinned a champion, he gets him in line for a title match.
I see how you can put Paul down. You know, you could pin.
He has
Paul
history
finally.
with the Miz. He has history with the Miz. They've been
You
feuding
can have-
for a year. It kind of writes itself for a WrestleMania match.
You can have Owens coming out, knocking him out in the middle of the match, and like
Yeah.
that whole thing continuing too. That's definitely possible.
So
Okay.
I'm sorry. So Logan Paul's WrestleMania matches are either A, Kevin Owens, they run it back, or B, it's the Miz. I don't think it's anybody else. But go on. What were you saying?
So no, you're right. So yeah, no, I was just looking at some of these guys that were in the qualifying parts of it. Dom, I don't know what's going. Do you guys understand what's happening with Dominic or Tom and Nick as he goes by now? I mean, he's kind of like in limbo land at this point, and he gets the biggest heel pop in the whole company right now. What's going on with Tom and Nick? Like, do you have an opinion on him?
I actually love Tom and Nick.
So do I. I love Tom and Nick.
I think he absolutely needs this qualifier win. I think he needs to put it on a show. Obviously, I don't think he's going to win, but I think the fact that he's in a high caliber match to determine a chance at a world championship, that helps him progress in his career and being considered a main event talent in that regard. So, like I said, I think he belongs in that match. Obviously, I don't want him to win, but he definitely needs it. I love Dom. I love Tom and Nick. Dominic,
So do I.
whatever, old dirty Dom, old dirty Tom, whatever you want to say. But he needs to be.
They should put R-Truth in the qualifying matches, but hey, they missed out.
Yeah, Gonzo, how do you feel about that right now so far? What do you think? Is it McIntyre? So my question was, is it McIntyre's match to win, basically? Are we going to get Seth Rollins versus McIntyre or McIntyre, if for those of you that don't know how to say his name?
McIntyre, Mick and Tom. I don't think it matters anymore.
Yeah.
I want Drew. I really do. I'm going to be biased with that. He's been white hot for what, 2 months now since Punk has been back. Everything he's been pumping out here of lately has been rather fantastic. And the fact that he's, again, going to social media to help it. I will say I'm very much looking forward to the star power that they're going to put in this Elimination Chamber match. So I'm not going to lie. Like, when I seen the names, I sat there at home and I was like, in it. And then right off the bat, it's AJ Styles versus Drew. And I'm like, wow, they're not going to have AJ perform in that. And then, they bring out LA Knight.
That was, sorry, but that was insane to me. That happened to AJ. I didn't get it.
Shout out to Matt Bate.
I'm kind of shocked. So here's my deal on it. Without, we've been spending a lot of time on it. So obviously, I think it's 100% McIntyre who's going to win. McIntyre's going to win that match.
Well, give me your people in the actual chamber match. Maybe let's do that, because I'd rather be entertained then. If it's McIntyre, great. Just give me, and then we can move on to the next segment. But give me the guys that are in the chamber match.
I think, real quick, before you say them, Mark, I think they don't want their top guys all in the chamber match. Doesn't it feel like that?
I mean, with AJ Styles losing, it's kind of weird.
It's a mix bag. Go ahead.
So we got 4 more. So right now we got confirmed McIntyre, Orton. I think I'm gonna say the Miz over Paul. I just got a feeling. So I think McIntyre, Orton, Miz, LA Knight, Mysterio.
What is it? 6? Is it 6 people?
Yeah, Mysterio and Owens. But the thing is, it's kind of hard because I don't remember who's facing who.
Right.
The only one I do know.
Have they announced it?
They only announced who's facing next week, and that's the Miz versus Logan Paul.
Right.
So obviously it could change, but just looking at the list right here, I would say Orton, McIntyre, the Miz, maybe Bobby Lashley, Mysterio, and LA Knight.
Oh no, please God.
So maybe Bobby Lashley. But so this is my case. So obviously we all think it's like 99.9% that McIntyre's going to win this match to set up him versus Seth Rollins. But I think the person that needs it most is LA Knight. I think this is the way that you get LA Knight off of SmackDown, because with Roman Reigns having a stranglehold on the championship, he's not getting his opportunity. And now if and when Cody wins the championship, he's still not going to get that opportunity because Cody's not going to lose it in 2 months. So I think this is a way to get LA Knight off of SmackDown. Obviously, I don't think it's going to go that route. I think 100% it's going to be McIntyre, but that's just what I would do just so I could have valid reason to get LA Knight on Raw. But that's just me.
It's a good idea, but I don't see that happening. I don't think they're gonna do that with LA Knight, and McIntyre is just gonna get that chance. It's just what it is.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's the men's. So any predictions to be added to this card for the Elimination Chamber? Do we get like a Rock Cody type deal? Do we get Gunther defending against Jey Uso, Cody and Nakamura? Like, what do you feel?
Yeah, based on who they put in the qualifiers, you can tell somewhat now of what they're going to try and do for the preliminary matches. And I think you're definitely going to see Gunther, probably Jay, or some mix of that bag. Cody versus Rock, maybe. I don't know. The whole Rock and Cody situation is so everywhere right now. So it's a possibility. They could come out, or they can interfere with each other. Maybe if there's some other matchup they do with The Rock, or maybe they put a jobber up there against The Rock. Not a jobber, but maybe The Rock gets like a little rust match he gets to put on. I don't know. What do you think Rock's gonna fight at all?
I don't know, man. I mean, I was so shocked with how everything played out with that presser and how him actually turning heel. Like, it could just go anywhere. Personally, I don't want The Rock and Roman Reigns fighting an Elimination Chamber just because I can't risk him injury, especially with Seth Rollins. Still, I mean, yeah, they're billing him as if he's going to be at WrestleMania, but I mean, what percentage are we going to get Seth Rollins at that match? And I can't risk another injury. I don't have no CM Punk. That's personally, but I mean, obviously, it's a big show because it is overseas. It's in Perth, so you have to have some star power on there. So I definitely could see them being added in some way. But I don't know. I think definitely at least Cody Rhodes is going to be fighting in some capacity, whether it be a blow off with Nakamura, even though they just had that bull roll match on Raw.
I can't see any more Rhodes and Nakamura. I can't.
I know.
I'm done.
It's got to be something.
Done. It's done. Stop. Yeah. I don't need any more Tajiri Mist. I don't need any more gimmicky matches, any more promos, any more interfering.
I love what they're doing with Nakamura. Cool. I'm just saying.
It was fun, but it's a horse. It's a dead horse. We need to move on. Sure. Nakamura can start beating the hell out of somebody else. There's plenty of other guys that could get the shit beat out of them by him.
But yeah, so we'll see. I'm not sure. But I do see maybe Gunther being added to the card. Gonzo, is there someone you'd want to see added to the card real quick while we're on the subject?
I think we covered everything that to be expected. Jade Cargill's going to be on the card winning the women's Elimination Chamber match. So, I mean, that's my prediction.
Bold prediction.
We have to put some money on that, Gons. We have to talk after the show.
We're branded underwear. That's what I'm putting on the line.
We're really far into the show, so I'm not going to go back and forth with you, but one thing I will say, I would not have Jade Cargill win that match to lose to Ripley. If Jade Cargill's winning that match, then you have to put her over, and they're not doing that either. But anyway, quick, not yet. So real quick, I'm going to get to this comment. So Matt A said, what about Bronson Reed? He's definitely a possibility because WWE likes to put like those big guys into those matches and let them dominate. And that's one way to help push this guy. I'm not really sold on Bronson Reed. So, I mean, I could care less if he's in it or not, but that's just me. Another comment we got from Matt A. We got where's our cash in? Once Drew McIntyre beats Seth Rollins for the championship, he's getting cashed in successfully.
Right. It's not happening in the chamber at all.
So that pretty much wraps up our show. I do want to say one quick thing. WWE announced a show on X exclusively called WWE Speed. It's a new weekly video series showcasing up to 5-minute matches, which will be exclusive to X, debut spring 2024. I need quick thoughts. Don't go on a tangent, but I'm going to tell you right now, I do not want to watch 5 minutes of a squash match on X.
You do not. There's a whole generation of people that don't watch TV or cable that are much younger than you and I that watch everything on YouTube, TikTok, so on and so forth. This is a look at getting fans that are beyond the fans they already have, that their future. Speed, I don't know if it's going to be a hit or miss. We'll see. But they're looking out for their future with an idea like this.
Attention spans are very, 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 very short these days. I like the concept behind it. I mean, the worst that happens is they just totally scrap it. So
what are you going to do when you have a title change in 5 minutes on X?
Better be an awesome squash match.
Whose title are we talking about? I mean, if you're talking
be anyone's, you just don't know. We don't know what it's going to be. I better not see a 24/7 title reemerge on X. I'm going to be super pissed, but you just don't know.
Well, I mean, the reality is they're kind of testing this out with the in NXT with the Survivor. What's that thing called, Mark? Where they have the time limit match.
Oh, the Iron
Elimination
Survivor, the Iron Survivor
So,
challenge.
I mean, that was pretty cool, right? To have limited different things, but ultimately they're going to test this out. So I'm interested to see.
A
And
24/7. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Gons.
no, I was just going to say I seen Matt A fly across the screen a bunch of times. 24/7 ship. Yeah. I mean, that'd be great. The hardcore title, just bring it back. So
What if I know you hate the hardcore / 24/7 title idea, but like
I
this
don't
would
hate
fit
the
it.
24/7. If it was an actual hardcore championship, but Crash Holly skits on the APA, not knocking on the door, I'm all for it. If I'm not getting that,
Okay.
I don't care.
But like, what if it's like 2 p.m. and it's like, oh, there's an update. WWE Speed just hit you. There's a 24/7 match happening right now outside of the American Airlines Arena. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know. It's a different
We'll
idea.
see.
We'll see what happens.
I think it's a cool concept. I'm gonna give you that, but I don't want to see a squash match for 5 minutes.
Right.
That's just me. But all right, so that pretty much wraps up our show. Real quick, Gonzo, tell everybody what you got going on and where they can find you on social media.
yeah, absolutely. You got raising_personalities. That's definitely going to be on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram is where you can find me most consistently. I did create an X account, Twitter, whatever it is that it's referred to these days. And so it's not going to be the Raising Personalities. I did David_MA_LCPC. And so I'm still figuring out X. I don't know what I'm doing. I just continuously just like and I retweet things that Marc, you continuously put out. So, and then also for Angel, that's to the extent of my knowledge. But that's ultimately what I'm going to be found on as far as revving some things up. A lot of it, again, is just allowing people just to see a little bit more of the clips that we're doing, just 16 some more head. I've got some other content that I'll be posting here in the next several weeks, just more so about different topics that don't necessarily equate to wrestling.
Cool. AOK Gaming, tell everybody what you're all about and where they can find you.
Yeah, my channel is mostly just going to be video games, gaming. I dabble into other ideas and hobbies and such as wrestling. You can find all that stuff there. But mostly, if you catch my streams and my content, you're just going to see mostly video game type stuff, PlayStation and other gaming. You can find all my socials are all the same. It's going to be _OK Gaming under Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. I have a YouTube page as well, but those are the main three that you can find me at. X as well. See us tweet each other out, us three. I need it for speed, so find us catching out the speed matches together maybe on X.
Do you have a streaming schedule or?
Streaming schedule wise, if you want to catch me playing anything, it's mostly evenings. We're in Central Time here where we're located, so you'll find me anywhere after 9 p.m. Central Time. Usually is when I get on. You catch me playing shooters, team-based games, co-op games. I just recently started playing Helldivers 2. You'll probably catch me playing that this weekend after this stream, possibly live. I play sports games with friends, co-op games. Maybe when 2K24, or is it 2-4? What's the WWE? Is it 2-4?
2-4.
Cody? Yeah.
2-4.
Maybe me and Kingpin will run some 2K24 when that comes out. We'll see what happens. But
well, I'll definitely be doing that. So he's more than welcome to get stomped on, when I create my
channel.
channel.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll make some cool Iron Man matches on there and stuff. So we'll see what happens.
For sure. All right. So once again, make sure you guys go give them a follow on all social media, raising_personalities and _OK Gaming. For myself, you can find me on all social media, pro_wrestling_kingpin. I was just recently a part of the Jelly Cards podcast. Go ahead and give them a follow. You'll hear me. I just got started with them on Thursday. I'm actually a wrestling card collector. They are a sports card podcast. They also sell sports cards. So you can go check their eBay site. They have a couple slabs up there right now. But we actually talked about the wrestling card market leading up to Wrestlemania. So you can go ahead and check that out. Once again, that's Jelly_cards. And you can see me talk about this guy, Braun Breaker, star rookie autograph. There you go. Checking his market leading up to Wrestlemania when he defeats Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, as I predicted. So once that skyrockets, maybe I do a little sell. But like I said, otherwise you could find us every Saturday live on YouTube. for the Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast, or go to Spotify and Apple Podcasts for the Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast. Once again, we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll see you next week. Kingpin out, guys.
Thanks for having me.